Furman Football Weekly, today with Furman head football coach Clay Hendricks and Wayne Anderson Jr. and Hugh Ryan as well. Furman off that 26-7 win on Saturday at home over Chattanooga. Second round of the FCS playoffs, now one of 8 remaining teams. Quarterfinal Friday night, Missoula, Montana against number 2 Montana, who beat Delaware in that snowstorm on Saturday 49-19. That's a 9 o'clock kick our time, national television, ESPN. And as always, our radio broadcast on the Fan Upstate, an hour and a half pregame show, and we'll have more on that in just a little bit. It's great that we're here today, Coach, and get some opening comments from you.
Well, it's great to be here with you guys as well. Thrilled to be in the Final 8 with a chance to continue to compete for a national championship. Really excited about the win on Saturday against a really good Chattanooga team. You always hear it, beating somebody, especially a good team, twice. That happen a lot. So we feel blessed to be able to get that win, and came out pretty healthy. Short week coming up, and go play. Actually get a chance to play one of the great venues of FCS football. I mean, Washington Grizzly Stadium. I didn't have to look the name up. I knew about the place. Never been there, so certainly be a great environment, tough environment to go play against a really, really good team. Everybody's really good at this point in time. We just need to have a great week of prep. Got some challenges this week. We start finals later in the week, so we're adjusting. Got a short week, but it's that time of year. We kind of planned for this, down the stretch, and I think your plans change a little bit later in the year, how you practice, but we're in a good spot. We just need to go have a great week of practice this week and head out to Montana. We'll have to play exceptionally well and have a chance. I'm not sure a lot of people give us a chance, but we're going to go anyways. We're going to have a good week of practice, and we'll see what happens. With that, any questions you may have?
Coach, how does, I would like your overall thoughts on being the only Friday game, finding out on Sunday about it, and how that changes anything y'all do this week?
They actually asked me, or asked us. I know I was quizzed from our administration about my thoughts. Friday or Saturday, did I have a big feeling against a Friday? And I said, no, we'll play Friday. We didn't get Friday, so I don't know what came into that. Now that was before the final game had been played, so I think they matched it up, and certainly a chance to play on national TV. This short week doesn't really bother me at all. When I was at the academy, we loved playing the short weeks. Now we were a triple option team. We give people limited preparation time, but I don't think that really mattered for us. We'll adjust our week a little bit. Now we're thrilled to be playing, and get great opportunity for our school, for our program, and Friday or Saturday, they're going to be the same team we're going to have to beat. They're going to be good. They'd probably be good on Friday or Saturday, so we'll have to be at our best.
I was watching football games yesterday, and it occurred to me that when you watch NFL games, and they at the start of the game, give you pictures of all the starters, invariably, and mostly in the line, mostly in the offensive line, there's almost always several players from out North Dakota State more commonly, South Dakota State, Montana. So it suggests that, like the Big Ten, when you play a team from out there, you're going to play a big, bulky, burly, physical team. Now you've got a pretty thoroughly physical team too, but I mean, is just matching up physically a big challenge?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think I answered the question on Saturday. Somebody asked me, had I watched, this was before their game was even played. I'd watched the Montana a little bit. I'd come in, and the game's on late in the day. And I said this, I said, when I watch them, I think they're kind of looking at us, just the way they're built, the way they play. I think we believe in a lot of the same things. Big, long, probably not as, they're big, but probably not as big, a little more athletic up front, offensively, and got player of the year as an interior defensive lineman in the Big Sky. So athletic, sometimes you think a bunch of big guys maybe don't move as well. They're not that way. I'd say they're probably a little more athletic up front. And maybe I even remembered them from before, but certainly good length, big, strong, tough. I mean, you can just tell that's the way they play. That's how we try to play. So again, you almost look like you're looking at yourself. And then I've had a chance now, to study them a lot. I'll take both sides of the ball. I'm probably the guy that gets to see both sides of the ball a little bit more. But yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. They're really good length, good movement, really well coached. And certainly in that environment, they're that much tougher.
Coach, in this game that you had over 140 total more yards this game against UT, and also you went 5-5 in the red zone, and you held the ball 8 more minutes than last time. How much was an emphasis to try to keep them off the field?
Well, I think the emphasis was being really good running the football, and again, Chattanooga, we're real similar. I think clearly the best defensive front we play against all year. Don't think that. Now they certainly missed a person, and certainly that made a little difference. But the other guys, I think they're outstanding, and really pleased how we ran the football. You get a guy like Grant Robinson who hadn't played since the second game of the year, and Grant, we're a little bit of a group by committee back there. I mean, Wayne thinks he's doing, Dom getting close to being healthy again, Wayne, and then even Zion. But I think that was kind of key with our ability to run the ball, and they didn't run the ball very well. So when you can do that, you're going to control the ball a little bit more. I'd say one thing, I'd like to score a few more points than we did. And I also think the game got to a point where, later in that game, we certainly don't want to lose somebody when you feel like you got the game completely under control. So that kind of played into that first ball. So we're trying to play the next week. But that'll be big this week. I think when you look at them, I think they won't be a balanced football team like we do, but they certainly want to run it. The quarterback is a dual threat guy. So again, I think they'll play a big part this weekend. Who can run the ball best.
Coach, when you look at Montana, there was some discussion about how they started the season, a couple of close games, and they lose to Northern Arizona. Now they've been playing great the last half of the season. What changed for them?
Well, I was looking at this one. The quarterback is a first-year guy, the guy that they're playing now. I think this is his fourth school. So getting in the system, it's like anybody. He's been in their system now for the year, and I think good teams, well-coached teams, get better throughout the year. I think they've stayed pretty healthy. I can't say I've studied it enough to know who they've lost, but I think they've stayed pretty healthy. I think a little bit like us, we had some of our injuries later in the year, and it affected us a little bit. We finally felt like we're kind of getting back to healthy again. But yeah, I think good teams get better throughout the year. Watch them. They are who they are. Getting certainly a good league. They play really good opponents. And again, they're playing their best football right now.
Wayne, it was a little bit of an odd day Saturday. Couldn't see Bears Mountain for the fog, and I think the weather forecast kept some people home maybe. And it was also unusual. That was the first time I went back. But they always won 7 straight coin tosses, so you went on defense 7 straight games. So for you to get the chance to return it to kickoff, and I went back and watched the replay. Returned that thing 40 yards. You could hear the crowd really get into it. It was like I know that the drive didn't turn out like you want, but what was that start like for you, and kind of energize everybody, starting a different way and get off to a good kick return?
Yeah, it was definitely different. I mean, like you said, the defense has been out there 7 straight times, you said, so I think it was really good to just be able to set the tone. We watched it in film yesterday. I probably should have scored, but it was just good to get off to a good start. I mean, kind of obviously the drive didn't end the way we wanted to that time, but I mean, we kind of regrouped and reset, and I think just set the tone was really good for the team as in general.
Q1, the excitement of any playoff situation. It used to be true in baseball, it didn't anymore. You had a whole season and you knew this team was head of the American League, and then another team was best in the National League. They hadn't played all year. You don't know how they actually match up. Well, that always happens right now because of the MVFC and the Big Sky's success in recent years, there's very definite expectations that they're the cream of the crop. But you don't actually know when a school in South Carolina plays a school in Montana, how they match up. And probably you can look at film in a sense that that's comparative, but isn't there some excitement in showing what you got and seeing what they got?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we've been talking about it, you know, just kind of just seeing what it's all about. You know, we've heard about, you know, the Big Sky, Missouri Valley, and all those teams. You know, we kind of want to see what all the hype's about. Just kind of go, you know, we're going to go experience it firsthand too, you know, in that environment, in that stadium and stuff. So, yeah, we're definitely excited, no doubt about it.
For Wayne and for you, you're on to the quarterfinals, and we go back to the Austin Peay game, and then last year in Carnivore. What's it like for you guys now that you're one of 8 remaining, and we start with Wayne?
I think I was telling somebody earlier, I've never played football this far along into a season, so I think it's a really kind of surreal moment. I just kind of just taking it all in, but I mean, I think nothing really changes for us, like mentality wise. I think it's just having a good week of preparation. I think just one day at a time and kind of going throughout the game, just like one play at a time, and not really getting into the moment too much. But I mean, just kind of doing our job throughout the weekend. I think we'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, just pretty much what Wayne said. You know, it's exciting, you know, to keep being with your brothers and stuff, but, you know, we know that, you know, we got to go get a win on Saturday if we want to keep going. So, you know, just one day at a time and, you know, 1 week at a time, no doubt about that.
Hugh, I don't know, I'm sure you probably watched the game a little bit on Saturday. Were you surprised at all that they had some pretty good success throwing the ball in that kind of weather?
Yeah, I was actually just watching film of that game, and yeah, he could still sling it pretty good in that weather. Yeah, I was talking about that. I mean, they're probably pretty used to the footing and stuff like that. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised, you know, throwing the ball as well as they did in the weather. But yeah, I mean, they look good, you know, throwing the ball. So,
Coach, I want your impressions of your new tight end Jack Barton and your new fullback Jeremiah Jackson on those dumb touchdown runs.
Yeah, it's something we've done all year. Something we've done all year, done it a little bit, you know, here and there. And, you know, certainly I think all coaches try to get your best players on the field. I don't think they'd let them happen full time on offense, but we use Sarad over there as well. So, you know, like I said, good coaching is getting your best players out there, and certainly did a great job. You know, I mean, that's not a real easy group to punch one in against. And actually, that was one of the better things we did down there. You know, red zone. You know, we had, I guess, two penalties, two touchdowns off the board. You know, have to keep field goals, but it was nice to be able to do that. You know, punching in like that.
When all of you have examined and taken a look at Montana, what do you see that is familiar, and what do you see that's not?
You asking me?
I already know what you think.
Okay.
They look like you.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's been surprises.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with Coach said. Just, you know, you can tell they try to be the more physical and the physical team. You know, they execute really well, which is what, you know, we put emphasis on. And but yeah, I kind of agree with what Coach said. Just pretty similar makeup, pretty similar, you know, team, you know, build and stuff. So yeah, I think they're pretty similar to us.
It's for you and Wayne as well. You guys both mentioned this. You said one play at a time, next play. You guys are a little bit older now. How difficult is that to do in reality, that if something goes wrong, okay, then we gotta come back? And do you feel a bit better now that you've been in the program for a while to take that approach?
I feel definitely, I think after 5 years, I definitely feel a lot better, especially once like something goes wrong. I'm like, okay, I think Coach Roper kind of tells us all the time, like, the game's not gonna go perfect. Obviously, like, we want the game to go perfect, but the game's never gonna go perfect. So I think understanding that something bad is going to happen in the game, and you kind of just gotta shake it off and go to the next play, because once emotions get into the game, then it's just a big snowball effect, and that's the last thing we kind of want, especially when we play a team like Montana. It's about who executes the best, especially two similar teams. So I think the biggest thing is kind of just channeling your emotions, and kind of, like I said, just taking it like one play at a time and not really letting a bad play before affecting the next couple plays, if that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much what he said, just staying even keel, throughout the game. I'm just kind of taking the game for how it is, just so, we've heard Coach Roper say that, just, one play at a time. And yeah, just don't expect the game to go, a certain way, just keep playing, keep battling, just see what happens.
Hey, Coach, have you had a discussion with your offensive coordinator this week about him being the last quarterback to see them advance? I think he was the last quarterback to see them go to the championship.
Well, I don't know if we talked about that specifically. We've had that conversation before. In fact, I think he was saying, and I think he told me maybe Villanova, maybe even Chattanooga. We played game in Chattanooga against them, and I was there for that one. On a bad field. I think that was a bad field too, but, really what we did, we had our meetings yesterday, and like, we did our typical offense, defensive coordinators get up and say the thing, and just address the whole, the environment a little bit, his advice, a little bit of where they come from, and like I said, you can watch them, tell kind of who they are, who they try to be, and it's, can you match that? We like to think we're the toughest group out there, and I think that's the way they think, and, you're gonna get into this out tough, you just gotta be able to match it, the physicality part of it, but if you said it, you gotta match physicality, who can execute, and I think we've matched physicality all year, when we have a plays well, it has been, lack of execution, and, certainly the other team has a lot to do with that, so I really think that's what's gonna come down to, can you take care of the ball, can you be good in the red zone, all those things, just be a team that doesn't beat yourself, and, the crowd's gonna come up, and the only thing we can do about a crowd is play well. That's the only way we can affect the crowd, if we play well, that's the only way to get them not involved, and, we just gotta play. We've been to South Carolina, it was a sold out stadium, and the game's tied with 50 seconds going half, so it's not like they weren't in the game. I thought we handled that incredibly well. I didn't think that was a factor in the game. What took us out of that game was lack of execution, right before we made a couple of critical mistakes, and it flipped the game on us. But it was their opener, and it was a pretty interesting environment, and I thought our kids handled all that well, and certainly we'll have to do that this week as well.
It seems like a lot of your defensive success prior to the playoffs down the stretch tied into the sacks. Saturday, no sacks, 2 tackles for loss. You hold them 42 yards in the second half. I mean, in a way, that's gotta give you more confidence. Hey, we don't have to just get sacks and force turnovers in order to shut somebody down. It's not. And how were you able to do that on Saturday?
Well, yeah, I think, they kind of just scratched the whole downfield passing game, I think, just as a fear of the sacks. They're doing a lot of 12 personnel and kind of keeping, at least one tight end to kind of max protect and things like that. So I think, our D-line and that rush has, a reputation of getting to the quarterback. So that only helps us, in the back end, it takes away some of those deeper passing concepts that, offenses like to run. But yeah, like you said, I think, we can be successful in a lot of different ways on defense. And, but yeah, we've really been really good at rushing the passer, and that's definitely helped us for sure.
Do you think the game, I've recently read several people talking about playing in, say places like Denver, where you're playing in a high plains location where the air is thinner. How do you get used to that? Are you gonna work out? I'm assuming that the elevation of Missoula, Montana is at the very least a high plains level. But I mean, is there a physical adjustment to be made from the thinness of the air?
Well, I spent 10 years in Colorado, so I think our stadium was like 6,700 feet. I thought I looked it up. I think they're 3,200 feet, which is what Asheville. I really don't think altitude's a big factor at all. And I know when we were there, we played that. It was weather, it was altitude, it was triple option, and it was cut blocks, and we were trying to do everything we could to get in people's head. And I think certainly the weather and probably the environment. There aren't a lot of environments like that in FCS football. There aren't. I've never been there, but I can watch. I know people that have been there. So you got to deal with that. But at the end of the day, the biggest challenge is that team you're playing. They're a really good team. You got really good players and well coached, but other than that, these guys will tell you what I told them yesterday. You know, if your guys worried about cold, just go and tell me today, we'll leave you here. You know, and that's not a concern I have. I mean, there's a reason why we practice, spring practice in February. One of the reasons, even in South Carolina, it can be pretty nasty out there in February. And, is it the same? I don't know, but I think that's how we train. I think we got a tough group. And, we've been working for a year to get in this position. We don't let 2.5 hours of cold weather or some crowd noise have that big effect on us. We're not who I thought we were. So, I don't know. I'd be surprised if it affects us. Does it have an effect? Absolutely. Is something you gotta do it? Absolutely you do. And we'll have a plan for that. But again, you gotta go. They'll put 11 out there, we'll put 11 out there, and we gotta be able to go execute on both sides of the ball.
Coach, does Montana remind you of anybody that you played this year?
Wow. Probably South Carolina. I think maybe a little bit schematically, a little bit how they are. I don't know. Again, it's like practicing against our defense, or it's like practicing against our offense. I mean, really, when you look at it, schematically we're a little different. Got a dual threat guy. He's a big guy who's athletic, so even when they get to him, he's hard to pull down. I think it's probably more of what you see every day of practice. Probably see. We've seen some different styles, maybe a little bit of Western Carolina offense, but not totally the same. Defensively, again, a lot of what we kind of see out of the defense are really multiple. They move around a bunch. Great player inside there. He reminds me of he's a different guy. He reminds me of the Maxwell kid from Chattanooga last year, who was a great player as an interior guy who could rush the passer and play the run. He's not just a 2-down, 3-down guy. But again, it seems to me more of what you play against every day of practice, which I hope helps us. And I don't know what they would, if you ask them the same question, I don't know what they would say, but, they play against a good team.
Coach, one of the areas that I guess can be affected by the weather is the kicking game. And looking at it, they have a kick return guy, Junior Bergen, who is averaging 22.5 yards per return. Ian Williams, historically this year has pretty much cleared the end zone pretty easily. How much of a factor is it if the wind's playing tricks on that to keep it away from a guy like Bergen?
Well, unless something's changing, we're trying to kick it out of the end zone. And I mean, there've been times even when we got in a later game, and maybe you weren't totally sure you could based on the conditions. I mean, I think the one they returned the other day, we tackled on 17. I think we've been a pretty good cover team when we've had to cover. I think one of the things you gotta be careful of is your guys is you get such a habit of running down the field and you jog off because he's kicked it out of the end zone or a touchback. And as soon as that ball went up the other day, I heard on the headphones, this one's coming out, and we tackled him on 17. So we've seen some really good returners. And again, we've been strong in that area. We haven't had tons of returns. I noticed their guy even snowed the other day. I don't know what the wind was doing, but he kicked a number of balls out of the end zone. So that's going to play a role. They blocked the punt. Now, high snap, Delaware, snapping over the head, Delaware. So that you got to control what you can control. But we've been really solid in the kicking game. It's a pretty good little run here. Because it's certainly a huge factor. I mean, I walked in the other night, flipped on the TV in overtime, Montana State on K-State. So I stand there and block next point. I told our team, game over, season over in a minute, in a split second. And so we've been really solid there. We work really hard at it. Coach Spanger's done a phenomenal job all year with that group. They really believe in it. So again, I think they kind of want, Coach Howe's got a big background in special teams as well. I competed against him both at UNLV when he was there, even at San Diego State, which was Rocky Long, one of the great defensive coaches, in all of college football. So again, I think it's back into that. We kind of believe in the same things where we got to be good at. It's think Saturday something's gotta give, you know, on one side of the ball. Yeah, they'll certainly take our best effort.
Coach, to your point, Charles Watson made a heck of a catch on that last football booth.
Yeah, he did.
Snap. That's not something you're used to, it's just usually very true.
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask you, maybe also Hugh, from his perspective as a DB, but, looking back on it, I think maybe the most impressive play Saturday was Alex Mayer's interception. Because he's had it so high, you know, Hugh's maybe not used to, maybe Wayne and Josh are the only ones used to catch balls that high, but, just tell me about that play and.
Well, he batted with his head.
Yeah.
You know, because when I first saw it, I'm thinking, I just was finally happy to see one of those go up in our favor,
Right.
you know? Chattanooga, you know, had the one, it wasn't batted, but the helicopter pass, you know, in the first game. And it just seems like we batted a few and we could never get to them. I wish you'd run it on in for a touchdown, but it was nice to see that. I think it goes back again to what you asked about, what they were doing. I think their whole plan changed because of protection concerns. And, you know, so, you know, we didn't see, you know, one of their great strengths on offense has been their core receivers. And it didn't just not have the ability to hit the one go route. Guy made a great throw. Really, we were in a really good position, you know, just to get around and see the ball. But, you know, forces people to change what they're doing a little bit, maybe get away from what they do. I mean, to think we didn't take into consideration Chattanooga's ability to rush the passer, absolutely we did. And it was a little bit of our plan, and so we tweaked it. I don't know, Montana may feel really good. I know they've given up a decent number of sacks. Now, they have a lot of sacks on defense, so does that change their plan? I don't know, you know, but your ability, and the weather last week, even though both teams were still, I was surprised how many balls were being thrown around in that game in the weather. Certainly rushing the passer is challenging in that kind of situation. You know, but that sort of big play.
Yeah, for you, how hard is that when you bat a ball up like that to concentrate the end?
No, I was actually pretty shocked that he caught the ball, because I know it's kind of like in his blind spot, but he still, you know, kind of made it over the shoulder catch. I thought it looked pretty good. But yeah, it was a good play.
I'm sure that in Montana, they're all being very well versed in how good y'all are. But if you listen to the fans and all that, you think that y'all play in the PFL. And I just wonder if there's an incentive advantage. I don't think you all are gonna take a back seat to anybody, but I just think that is there, I don't know, maybe their win the other day might have been too easy. I mean, like, do you think there's a chance to have an incentive advantage because subconsciously or whatever, they've got that, you know, that little situation? I can't believe we're getting beat by these guys. I mean, do you think that you have a little incentive thing because you're being perceived as coming from a level of competition that is not equal to theirs?
Lane, go ahead.
They gotta put 11 out there, we gotta put 11 out there. I think we talked, we're gonna talk about it all week. I think it's just about, just execution, and I think we're fairly confident in our abilities. I mean, I think that they are too, but I think the biggest thing is just who's gonna execute the best. But I mean, kind of like I said, they don't have, I don't think they have any specific advantage just because of like the team that they play. Like I think, like I said, they gotta put 11 out there, we gotta put 11 out there, and it's just, I think it's gonna be a really good game, no matter what.
But for you and Wayne, you're going down the stretch in your careers, you've been here, done that. I mean, how important is this game? They're all important, but sense of urgency, or this might be it for you guys? So just kind of want to get your thoughts on as you go down the stretch in your career and what you've been able to accomplish here.
You go.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Yeah, I mean, we do understand, you know, that, you know, it's 1 week at a time, you know, we gotta win this one to get another chance. But, I mean, I don't think we're thinking about, you know, like, big picture stuff, we're just worried about this one game, you know, let's go get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a 1 week season. Obviously we have the end goal in mind, but I mean, every single team that's in the top 8 right now has that end goal in mind. So I think if you look too far ahead, then you kind of downplay an opponent, and I mean, I think that's the last thing we want to do, especially in this situation. Obviously, obviously it's kind of new territory for kind of the team. We haven't been here since maybe, what was it, 2005, I think I saw. I just think it's 1 week at a time, literally. I don't wanna look too far ahead, and, I mean, yeah, I don't want this season to end, obviously. I love this team, I love these brothers, I love my coaches, I love it all.
I think that's it from our group. Coach, you have some final comments as we wrap it up here?
No, just, we're excited to go play, probably a place not many people are gonna give us a chance to play and play well. We'll do what we do, we'll go have a great week of prep. Our kids will manage, the challenges we have a little bit going on this week. We're gonna make that trip, and we'll be excited to go play in that environment. And, this is why you do it, and that's why, we brought up last week, I think it was a year to the day, it's the second card of word, disappointment. And, we put ourselves back in a great position, and we're right where we wanted to be, and I think where we kind of expected to be. And, but you gotta go make it happen, and we'll worry about next week, and we're just gonna do our practicing this week and prepare and try to play our very best.
All right, our thanks to Clay Hendricks and players Wayne Anderson Jr. and Hugh Ryan today. It is Furman at Montana on Friday night. It's a 9 o'clock start, and it's a national television game on ESPN2. Radio coverage begins at 7:30 on the Fan Upstate, 97.7 FM, 1330 AM Greenville, and 97.1 FM and 950 AM in Spartanburg, and everywhere on the Odyssey app. The winner of this game plays the winner of North Dakota State at South Dakota in the semifinals. This has been a Hunter Reed, Jeff Schetzel production. Good afternoon, everybody.